Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. And let me share my screen. Does anyone remember that Krishna gives an example that when we are, what is that animal or what can control their sense very easily and nicely? So there was this mammal actually. Krishna speaks about that mammal. Who was that? Does anyone remember? So how to withdraw our senses? Remember? The what?
A horse.
Horse? No.
Can I tell?
Let others try first. If no, then you tell. Is there anyone who wants to try? Okay, yes, Giriraj Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. It's tortoise.
It's tortoise. Perfect. So we have to withdraw our senses just like a tortoise does when it sees there is a impending danger. Okay. So I think, did we do this? Does anyone remember? Anyways, yeah, we did because Maharaj Amrish, we did this story, right? So we'll begin with 2.61 today. Is there anyone who wants to recite this shlok?
Can I do the Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्त आसीत मत्परः वशे यस्येन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता.
Translation.
One who restrains his senses, keeping them under control, and fixes his consciousness upon me, is known as a man of steady intelligence.
Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. That the highest conception of yoga perfection is Krishna consciousness is clearly explained in this verse. And unless one is Krishna conscious, it is not at all possible to control the senses. As cited above, the great sage Durvasa Muni picked a quarrel with Maharaj Amrish, and Durvasa Muni unnecessarily became angry out of pride and therefore could not check his senses. On the other hand, the king, although not as powerful a yogi as the sage, but a devotee of the Lord, silently tolerated all the sage's injustices and thereby emerged victorious. The king was able to control his senses because of the following qualifications as mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam 9.4.18 until 20. So the translation goes, King Ambarish fixed his mind on the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, engaged his words in describing the abode of the Lord, his hands in cleansing the temple of the Lord, his ears in hearing the pastimes of the Lord, his eyes in seeing the form of the Lord, his body in touching the body of the devotee, his nostrils in smelling the flavor of the flowers offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, his tongue in tasting the tulsi leaves offered to him, his legs in traveling to the holy place where his temple is situated, his head in offering obeisances unto the Lord, and his desires in fulfilling the desires of the Lord. And all these qualifications made him fit to become a Matpara devotee of the Lord. The word Matpara is most significant in this connection. How one can become Matpara is described in the life of Maharaj Amrish. Sri Baldev Vidyabhushan, a great scholar and Acharya, is in the line of the Matpara, remarks, Mat Bhakti Prabhavena Sarvendriya Vijaya Purvika Swatma Drishta Sulaveti Bhava. The senses can be completely controlled only by the strength of devotional service to Krishna. Also, the example of fire is sometimes given. As a blazing fire burns everything within a room, Lord Vishnu, situated in the heart of the yogi, burns up all kinds of impurities. The Yoga Sutra also prescribes meditation on Vishnu and not meditation on the void. The so-called yogis who meditate on something other than the Vishnu form simply waste their time in a vain search after some phantasmagoria. We have to be Krishna conscious, devoted to the personality of Godhead. This is the aim of real yoga. So what does this mean? Here Krishna says, one who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control, and fixes his consciousness upon me, is known as a man of steady intelligence. Appears simple, but actually there is a deep secret if we see these words, or there is an instruction for all of us. The first thing is that one has to restrain their sense and have to keep them under full control. But now what happens is that our senses by default, for instance, you can never say that sugar is not sweet or the sugar is salty. The constituent of sugar or the characteristic of sugar or the dharma of sugar is that it is sweet by default. Similarly, for us jeev, humans, it is not possible that we don't focus our senses anywhere. It's impossible. Our senses need to be focused somewhere. And if someone thinks that I am focusing on nothing, so still you are focusing on something that you believe to be nothing. So still you are focusing on something, isn't it? So our senses would always be engaged in something or the other. No one can deny that and no one can restrain from it. That is given. That is the nature of this soul. Now, the message here is that if you want them to be controlled, then you have to apply those under the service or for the service of Sri Krishna. This is the only way. And that is why I say that until and unless we chant, we can read, we can try to understand, but it will have its full effect only if we perform seva, service along with reading these scriptures. And what is the highest seva? That is chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra on beat. This is the topmost seva we can do. So until and unless we do some service, we won't be able to control our mind, because the whole point of chanting mantra means mantra is mantrai iti, that controls the wandering mind. So this is the meaning of the word mantra. So that is what it does. So here it says that fixes his consciousness upon me is known as a man of steady intelligence. So if we want to be intelligent, we have to perform seva. With that, we are going to control our minds. Okay. Moving ahead. 2.62. Now this is also one of the very important shlokas. Who will recite this?
I'll read, Prabhuji.
Yes, Madhu.
ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः सङ्गस्तेषूपजायते सङ्गात् सज्जायते कामः कामात् क्रोधोऽभिजायते. Translation: while contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment lust develops, and from lust anger arises.
Very important. Perfect. One who is not Krishna conscious is subjected to material desires while contemplating the objects of the senses. The senses require real engagements, and if they are not engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, they will certainly seek engagement in the service of materialism. So either one or the other. You have to engage your senses. In the material world, everyone, including Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, to say nothing of other demigods in the heavenly planets, is subjected to the influence of sense objects, and the only method to get out of this puzzle of material existence is to become Krishna conscious. Lord Shiva was deep in meditation, but when Parvati agitated him for sense pleasure, he agreed to the proposal, and as a result, Kartikeya was born. When Haridas Thakur was a young devotee of the Lord, he was similarly allured by the incarnation of Maya Devi, but Haridas easily passed the test because of his unalloyed devotion to Lord Krishna. As illustrated in the above-mentioned words of Sri Yamunacharya, a sincere devotee of the Lord shuns all material sense enjoyment due to his higher taste for spiritual enjoyment in the association of the Lord. That is the secret of success. One who is not therefore in Krishna consciousness, however powerful he may be in controlling the senses by artificial repression, is sure ultimately to fail, for the slightest thought of sense pleasure will agitate him to gratify his senses. Lord Brahma says once that I have seen the greatest and the greatest among those great yogis fall down. I have seen the greatest of the demigods fall down. I have seen so many people falling down, but I have never seen a devotee fall down. Right? Because a devotee is being backed up by Krishna. And the example, how to understand this is, let's say, if a mother has 5 kids, 5 children, and one of the children is not very strong, needs assistance, needs help, and the 4 they are just they are okay and they are healthy and everything. So the mother will love all the 5 children, but the mother will take special care of the one that needs assistance, isn't it? Similarly, the karma yogi, jnana yogi, dhyana yogi, when they set out for searching the truth, they say, I will do it myself. So that is why you will never see a group of yogis. A yogi will go out alone in Himalayas and meditate. A jnani will also always be alone and will understand the truth by reading the Shastras. And a karma yogi will also do by doing karma, right? But a bhakt says that I am not qualified at all. I am not eligible for anything. So that is why I will surrender. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a great scholar. But when asked that why do you dance like madmen on the streets chanting this Hare Krishna? You are a scholar. You should be sitting with other scholars and discussing the scriptures. Why do you do this? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very humbly said, I am a fool. I don't know much. And that is why my guru, my spiritual master has advised me that I do this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That's the reason I do. So a devotee would say that nothing belongs to me. Everything is Guru Kripa. Everything is the Kripa or the mercy of Lord. And that is why Krishna takes special care of the devotees, and he says, Kaunteya prati janihi name bhaktah pranashyati. That go and boldly declare, Kunti Putra Arjun, that my devotee never perishes. So the topmost of the yogis, topmost of the demigods, they also fall sometimes. And here Lord Shiva is also mentioned. So this is also one of the pastimes, as Prabhupada has mentioned, that once he was in deep meditation. And also when we see this, when in the yajna of Daksha Prajapati, Sati, she gave up her body. So though he loved his wife very much, his wife was very dear to Shiv. After that, he was a bit sad. He was really sad when he got to know that my wife has quit her body. So then he goes into a deep, deep meditation for 87,000 transcendental years. And then after that, there is a story that some demon was supposed to be killed, and it would be killed only if Lord Shiva has a son, and in order for Lord Shiva to have son, he'll have to get married. So then there was just another arrangement by Lord Vishnu, how to get Lord Shiva married. That comes in the Ramcharitmanas. So this is just for the sake of Leela, because great personalities like Shiva, they can never fall, but just to show that even in that position, there is a possibility that you can slip and there can be a fall down. So that is just for the sake of Leela. Don't confuse that actually he can fall down. He can never fall down because he is one of the greatest devotees. Lord Shiva is also a devotee. And Krishna says, my devotee would never fall. But just for the sake, it is mentioned here. And on the contrast, Haridas Thakur, who is Lord Brahma, Maya Devi herself comes to test Haridas Thakur, becoming a prostitute, and she says, I want to be with you. But then Haridas Thakur does not fail his test, and in return, he makes or transforms the heart of that prostitute and she becomes a pure devotee. And then she starts chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So this is the power of a devotee. Now here what Krishna is saying, when contemplating the objects of sense, so this is where our fall down begins. Contemplating. For example, I'll tell you how this works, this psychology. Before iPhones or before smartphones, no one knew about phones, right? So our mind was not agitated by it. But after we hear, okay, smartphones came, and then there are different varieties, different colors, and now there is Apple phone, and then every year they upgrade their phones. Now what happens is the sense starts thinking about it, contemplating about it. And this is where everything begins. When there are varieties, then our mind wanders. Our desires go to that place. And what happens is while contemplating means thinking, deeply thinking about the objects, a person develops attachment for them. Keep on thinking again and again and again and again. So this is how everything starts, right? You keep on thinking, I'm going to buy a house, I'm going to buy a house, I'm going to buy a house. Then you start for a mortgage and then you ask which area, this and that. So it all starts with this contemplation. And then you go for that thing. So what happens is then there is an attachment. From attachment, there is lust, that I really need this thing. And what happens is if the lust is not satisfied, then there is wrath, there is anger. So again, the whole starting point is the contemplation. Dhyayam, dhyato vishayam pumsaha. So remember this thing. So we have to stop it at the point of contemplation. We should not be thinking too much. If our mind takes us, then immediately we have to pull back. Because if we give in to that thinking again and again and again, then definitely it will take us far, far away. Okay? 2.63. Now this is the succession to the previous words. Who is going to recite this?
You can read, Karu.
Yes, Prabhu.
क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमा स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. Translation: From anger, complete delusion arises, and from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost, and when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material world.
If we think about this thing, this is how actually, so there is no clarification how we fell from the spiritual sky to the material sky. The only point we get to know is that we wanted to become lords and then we had desires. But if we try to understand these two words, this is exactly what happened with us, and this is exactly what happens with everyone, even in the material world. This is how things progress. This is the human psychology. So again, let's see. So it started from contemplation. From contemplation, what happens is attachment. When there is attachment, then there is a desire to do something, that is lust. And from lust comes wrath. That is anger. From anger, there is delusion. When we are angry, then we don't understand what we are saying. Even if we love someone and we get angry at them, we will say hurtful and meanful things. And we don't mean those things. Why? Because we are delusional at that time. And then we do such things. And then people go on to the extent of killing someone, murdering someone, or hurting someone. So that is delusion created from anger. And from delusion, bewilderment of memory. Then our memory is gone. We don't understand for a fraction of a second who we are, and then we slap someone or we take a knife and we stab someone. So for a fraction of a second, we are completely out of our memory. And when memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. So I am just taking one instance that if someone is angry at someone, this is what happens. But if you take the bigger picture, this is how we fall and this is how we are trapped lifetime after lifetime. purport. Srila Rup Goswami has given us this direction. Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu 1.2.258. The translation says, by development of Krishna consciousness, one can know that everything has its use in the service of the Lord. Those who are without knowledge of Krishna consciousness artificially try to avoid material objects, and as a result, although they desire liberation from material bondage, they do not attain to the perfect stage of renunciation. Their so-called renunciation is called Falgu, or less important. On the other hand, a person in Krishna consciousness knows how to use everything in the service of the Lord. Therefore, he does not become a victim of material consciousness. For example, for an impersonalist, the Lord or the Absolute being impersonal cannot eat. Whereas an impersonalist tries to avoid good eatables, a devotee knows that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer and that he eats all that is offered to him in devotion. So after offering good eatables to the Lord, the devotee takes the remnants called prasadam. Thus everything becomes spiritualized and there is no danger of a downfall. The devotee takes prasadam in Krishna consciousness, whereas the non-devotee rejects it as material. The impersonalist therefore cannot enjoy life due to his artificial renunciation. And for this reason, a slight agitation of the mind pulls him down again into the pool of material existence. It is said that such a soul, even though rising up to the point of liberation, falls down again due to his not having support in devotional service. So here, Prabhupada gives a brilliant example that everything, if applied in the service of Krishna, is transcendental and is pure. So people who don't believe in the form of Krishna, the impersonalists, they think that even the food, everything is material. Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya, meaning there's only one truth, that is God, who has no form, and everything other than him is unreal or an illusion. So for them, even prasadam is an illusion. This is also material, but that is not the case with the devotees. The devotees can take as much prasadam as they want to. So not exactly the context, but once what happened was that there was a boy and he had his doubts. He was thinking that how come it is that we take prasadam and we say that the prasadam is offered to Krishna, but when we offer and we take back the plate, everything is kept as it is. So how do you say this is prasadam? So he asked his guru the question. Guru said, okay, fine, let's do one thing. Go and memorize the first verse of Bhagavad-gītā. So he says, okay, fine, I will do that. After a week, he comes back. The guru asked, so did you memorize the first verse of Bhagavad-gītā? He says, yes, I memorized. So the guru kept the book in front of him and he asked the disciple, the boy, recite the verse. So the boy, he recited the verse. Dharma kshetre kurukshetre samveta yuyutsava mamaka pandavaschaiva kima kurvata sanjaya. So the guru said, do you think that is correct? He said, yes, that is correct. So do you think the verse is inside your mind? So he said, yes, the verse is inside my mind. Guru said, recheck. Are you sure the verse is inside your mind? He says, yes, Guru Maharaj, it is inside my mind. So he said, no, that's not possible. Why? Then he opens the book and he says, the verse is on the book. So how can it be that the verse is on the book and at the same time inside your mind? So then he was a bit confused. Then Guru explained to him that similarly, when we offer to God, what happens is God takes the bhav, the mood in which the food has been offered, the bhog has been offered, and he takes that bhav and he eats that. So he accepts the bhav, the mood. And what happens is in return, he instills that bhav or reciprocates that in that bhog, and the bhog becomes prasad. So like the verse was in the book and at the same time within your mind, similarly, Krishna has eaten that prasad in the form of bhav and at the same time you get the same prasad back from him. That is why that is not material. Now the bhog that was offered becomes transcendental as prasad. Right? So everything, if utilized in the service of Krishna, be it food, be it clothes, be it money, that is all considered to be transcendental, and that is the only thing that is going to be our savior. Because if we start contemplating on the material things, we are gone. But at the same time, the same action is the same. Contemplate. We have to contemplate on something. We cannot become nirvishesh shunyavadis. We have to contemplate, so why not contemplate on God? You do the same thing. You are contemplating that I am going to eat rabdi jalebi today. Fine. But you offer it to Krishna. So the contemplation is the same. I want to eat some sweet. But now it is offered to Krishna. So I am safe from the greatest of dangers. I want to do whatever. I want to earn more. So okay, fine. You earn for Krishna. You use that money for the service of Krishna. So if you do that, what's happening is you're contemplating, but now it's not completely material. Krishna will take care of you. Right? So we have to curb everything spiritually. That's what. Action is the same. But just there is a paradigm shift. Your consciousness shifts from materialism to spirituality. Okay? So I think we covered this. Yeah. And if you don't do that, so it is said that a soul, even though rising up to the point of liberation, if you're not Krishna conscious, even if you go to the point of liberation, what would happen is there will be a fall down again due to his not having support in devotional service. Okay. Next sloka, 64. Do we have a hand?
I can read, Prabhu.
Yes, so.
Ragadvesha vimuktestu Vishayan indriyacharan Atma Vashyar Vidheyatma Prasadam Adhigacchati. Translation: But a person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain complete mercy of the Lord.
It is already explained that one may externally control the senses by some artificial process, but unless the senses are engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord, there is every chance of a fall. Although the person in full Krishna consciousness may apparently be on the same sensual plane, because of his being Krishna conscious, he has no attachment to sensual activities. The Krishna conscious person is concerned only with the satisfaction of Krishna and nothing else. Therefore, he is transcendental to all attachment and detachment. If Krishna wants, the devotee can do anything which is ordinarily undesirable. And if Krishna does not want, he shall not do that which he would have ordinarily done for his own satisfaction. Therefore, to act or not to act is within his control because he acts only under the direction of Krishna. This consciousness is the causeless mercy of the Lord, which the devotee can achieve in spite of his being attached to the sensual platform. How do we understand this? Army. Take example of an army. When there is a fight, so army is not every day going out and killing people, right? But then when a war strikes, and then the government gives him the license that go and kill the terrorist. So then he goes and kills the terrorist. Now the action is killing, murdering, right? But for that action, he is not getting punishment. Instead, he is getting an award. Because he was working, the action was killing, it was murder, but because he was not doing it for his own sense satisfaction, he was doing it for the country. He was doing under the orders of the government. So you understand this, right? That the action is same, but now there is a paradigm shift. Earlier, when we were doing it for our sake, we were getting entangled with our karmas. But now because we are doing it for Krishna, the action is the same, the karma is the same, but we are not getting any reaction because it is under the order of a spiritual master or Vaishnavas or Krishna directly. Okay? This is simple. Yeah, 2.65. Over to slide. Yes.
प्रसादे सर्व दुःखानां हानिरस्योपजायते प्रसन्न चेतसो अहयसु बुद्धि प्रयवतिष्ठते. Translation: For one thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer. In such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well established.
Who can tell me what are the threefold miseries?
Birth, death, age-old diseases.
No. Wrong answer. Who else?
Can I say, Prabhu?
Yes. Is there any other hand? If no, then you continue.
Vedas Prabhu wants to say. Vedas Prabhu.
Okay, Vedas Prabhu.
Prabhu, demigods, other humans, and mind and body.
Perfect. And what is it called? Okay, Chetan Prabhu.
Adi Bhautik, Adhyatmik, Adi Daivik.
Yes. So these are the threefold miseries. Adi Bhautik, Adhyatmik, and Adi Daivik. Adhyatmik is one that is caused by our own mind. Adi Daivik is one that is caused by natural disturbances, earthquake, tsunami. And what was Adi Bhautik is caused by someone else, our neighbors. Then it could be mosquito or someone else that disturbs us. So these are the threefold miseries. And if we are in this material world, then we will all be affected by the threefold miseries. But Krishna says, one who is satisfied in Krishna consciousness, or who is transcendental, who is trying to become Krishna conscious, the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer for that person. In such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well established, because he wouldn't care. When, let's say, if we are attached to our hometown and we go to some other place and something is happening, so we don't bother actually. We go to that place and there was some festival, we attend, and then we are back, because in our mind, our consciousness is fixed that I will go back. I am just a tourist at this place. So yes, if there is a good time, have a good time, but it should not bother, and it won't bother you, because in your heart you love your hometown. Similarly, we are all tourists in this material world, but one who has realized this, that they are tourists, and then they belong to Krishna, their hometown is Golok Vrindavan Dham or Vaikuntha Dham. So that anything that happens on this material plane, anything, someone slaps us, someone praises us, whatever it is, we gain money, we lose money, it wouldn't bother, because we are tourists. Doesn't matter. I am anyways going back to my hometown, and I will get everything in my hometown. My parents are there, my neighbors, my relatives, my siblings, my friends, everyone is waiting, and I have abundance of everything. So if we have this consciousness, then nothing in this material world is going to disturb us. Our mind, others, and the natural calamities. They have nothing, no jurisdiction over us. 2.66. Who's going to read this? Go.
Yes, Prabhu. Nasti buddhir ayuktasya na chayuktasya bhavana na chabhavyata santir ashantasya kuta sukham. Translation: one who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace?
So, before we go to the purport, understand that we have a nature in our spiritual abode. There is a nature. And we come to this material world. Now, this material world, as I told in my previous class, is just like a mirror. There is a reflection, right? So I have the tendency, I want to be happy, I want to sing, I want to dance, I want to eat good, I want to wear good clothes. That everything is there, because that is all spiritual. But what happens is, I am in a different place that does not belong to me. This is not my hometown. So whatever I do here, I won't be satisfied unless I am connected to my root. That is my real consciousness, the real me. I can try. And even if in ignorance someone thinks that they are happy, that is only short-lived. If someone is happy, then what happens after they die? Right? So they don't even understand that there is life after death, and that's this is all a bigger picture. Okay, so it is just the absence of misery, their happiness. That is not real happiness. If we think or if we see someone enjoying or being happy, So that is not real happiness. We will only be happy when we are connected to our root, our real nature, and the place where we belong to, and that is unfortunately not this material world. So Krishna says, one who is not connected with the Supreme can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind. They will keep on wandering. The mind will be restless, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? Purpose. Unless one is in Krishna consciousness, there is no possibility of peace. So it is confirmed in the 5th chapter, 5.29. So I know Girdhar Prabhu knows this. Is there anyone who knows this verse? Chaitanya Prabhu, do you?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, other than Chaitanya Prabhu and Girdhar Prabhu, is there anyone who remembers this verse? This is the verse when Krishna confirms that he is God. Because we are reading Bhagavad-gītā, we must know. If someone on the streets asks us that, okay, you say Krishna is God, what is the proof? Where did he say? 5.29, he says, I am God. Is there any hand up? Does anyone know? If no, then Chaitanya Prabhu, go ahead.
Yes, Prabhu. Bhaktaram Yagitapsam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Gyatvam Shantivritsati. Suhridam Ram Shantivritsati.
Right. So 5.29, try to memorize. Here Krishna confirms that he is God. So it is confirmed in the 5th chapter, 5.29, that when one understands that Krishna is the only enjoyer of all the good results of sacrifice and penance, that he is the proprietor of all universal manifestations, and that he is the real friend of all living entities, then only can one have real peace. Gyatva mam shanti mrichati. He says, Bhokta Ram Yagya Tapasam. That means that whatever bhog has to be offered, so whatever needs to be offered, he is the supreme benefactor. It has and it must be offered to him. If we don't offer it to him, then that is a mistake on our part. Bhokta Ram Yagya Tapasam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram, and I am the Lord of all the lords. So even I, you and everyone on this call, we are all lords. We are the lords of our bodies, right? We make a choice if my body will go right or left, if I will sleep or if I will go to Bhagavad-gītā class, if I will chant. So we are the lord of our bodies. And there are similar so many lords. So there is a lord of a state, then there is a lord of a country, then there are different lords, then there is lord of heaven, Indra, then there is lord of all the lords, that is Lord Shiva. But then there is Lord of all the lords of the lords as well, and that is Lord Krishna. So Bhokta Ram Yagya Tapasam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram Sohridam Sarva Bhutanam. So when someone is a lord, so it's not that he is very egoistic and he is claiming, I am the Lord, bow down to me. No. He says in the next line, I am the best friend of everyone. Sohrid. I am the closest to you. I am closest to your heart. I am your best friend. Sarva Bhutanam, and not just for you, for everyone, every living entity. Gyatva Mam Shantim Richati, and who understands and always remembers these three things, that I am the original benefactor of all the bhog, I am the Lord, and I am the best friend of everyone. If you know these three things, then very soon you will attain peace. Gyatva Mam Shanti Dicchati. So if there is no God, if someone is not connected with God, they will try and try and try, but no, they are not going to find peace, because peace does not exist in this material world. It is just a reflection. It exists somewhere else. For instance, if a dog, let's say a dog has a bone, and he sees in a mirror that there is another dog, that is his reflection, and that dog even has a bone. Now, dog says that why should he have the bone? I will have two bones instead. So he drops his bone and he rushes towards the mirror and he's finding and he's trying and he's trying and he's trying. Do you think he's ever going to find that bone? He will never find that bone, because the bone does not exist in the mirror. That bone existed in reality with him, but then he is searching in the mirror. Same is our case. So the happiness exists, peace exists, but it is in Dham, Golok Vrindavan Dham, not in this world. And we are trying our best to search it here. So we will, that like that dog, we can search for eternity, but we are never going to find it. Therefore, if one is not in Krishna consciousness, there cannot be a final goal for the mind. Disturbance is due to want of an ultimate goal, and when one is certain that Krishna is the enjoyer, proprietor, and friend of everyone and everything, then one can, with a steady mind, bring about peace. Why? Because once we know that He is Lord, He is the benefactor, and at the same time, He is so humble and merciful that He is saying, I am your friend. So we surrender. And the day we surrender or desire to surrender, that's it. Game over for Maya. So we will attain peace, because now we know that there is someone looking out for me. If we go to a new place and we don't know anyone and we know it is a rough neighborhood, so there is this anxiety. But if we know that the mayor of the town is my relative and then he has sent bodyguards for me every day, now I will walk fearless because I know that He is going to protect me, right? So that is why we will attain peace, because He is God and we have surrendered to God. So therefore, one who is engaged without a relationship with Krishna is certainly always in distress and is without peace. However much he may make a show of peace and spiritual advancement in life. Krishna consciousness is a self-manifested peaceful condition which can be achieved only in relation with Krishna. So people say, I find bliss in ignorance. So that is the reality, that they are blissful in ignorance, and that is all they would be, because they don't connect with Krishna. So let's take one more verse and then we will stop for the day. 2.67. Will you try this? Mm-hmm. Please go ahead to. Is someone reading?
I think Abhishek Prabhu has their hand raised, but maybe they're not on mute. Yes, Prabhu.
Please do, or later to somebody else's?
Yes,
No,
you can read.
you can decide, Prabhu. Sure.
Indriyanam vicharatam yanmano anuvidhiyate tadasya haratim pragyam vayurnava vivambasi. As a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focus can carry away a man's intelligence.
Thank you, Prabhu. So again, a very powerful verse and a warning for all of us. Never think that our mind cannot harm us. It's very, very subtle the way in which Maya Devi works, the mind works. We don't even know when we will be trapped. So as a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. Unless all of the senses are engaged in the service of the Lord, even one of them engaged in sense gratification can deviate the devotee from the path of transcendental advancement. As mentioned in the life of Maharaj Amrish, all of the senses must be engaged in Krishna consciousness, for that is the correct technique for controlling the mind. So if we just give a little room for our mind, then it will be very difficult for us. That is why we must try to always be in the association of devotees. Because what happens is the devotee will keep helping us and looking after us. When there is a fight between a snake and Nevla. What is Nevla in English? Does someone know? Otter? No.
Squirrel, Prabhu?
No. Squirrel is Gilhari. So, snake and Nevla, someone might know Nevla, who is enemies with snake, that animal. It's like a big rat, like a big mouse.
Mongoose, Prabhu.
Mongoose, yes, thank you. So I think it's mongoose, if I'm not wrong. So when they have a fight, this mongoose is very clever actually. What mongoose does is that he knows the herbs and plants very well, and he knows where the medicine is kept. So he challenges the snake at a particular place to fight. And if in the fight it is being defeated, And if it is hurt, this mongoose, what it does is, he just runs away from that. He calls it quits and he runs. He goes and he knows exactly where the medicine is, in the plants, in the herbs. And he takes that medicine, he becomes fit, and again he comes and fights with that snake. So this is a very intelligent technique actually. It knows that the snake is going to come after me every time, but then he is prepared very well. So that is the case that should be the case with all the devotees as well. That yes, Maya is going to come. There is no doubt about it. But then we should know where the medicine is kept. And what is that? That is the association of devotees. If we think that we are alone sufficient and we will do it on our own, then game over for you. It means Maya has captured your mind and there is no escape for you then. But unless you are under the shelter of the devotees, you will be safe. And then you can go on and keep on fighting until the day you defeat. Okay? So with that, I'm going to stop and we'll open the floor for question and answer. I see a hand raised. Is that for question or is that for something else? Abhishek Dedi Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu, it's for questions actually.
Yes.
Right. So, yeah, I was trying to stop, and there are a lot of good things which is not clear to me, so I'll go one by one. So, first was there was a succession of events when you explained that if you contemplate on sense and object, then attachment, lust, anger, stuff like that, and then eventually you will fall down.
Right.
And I started thinking about this. So at times, I don't know, probably this is the right way of saying contemplation or not. Or maybe focusing and contemplation, probably they are synonym to each other. So for example, we have to do something, let's say in our job or anything else. At times we have to focus, and at times we have to focus for a longer time to get some meaningful result, and at times people say also you need to think for a particular thing for a long time. And then you eventually get it by hard work or effort or mental contemplation. Now if I try to relate this with this, because it is saying that when you contemplate your senses, contemplate on sense and on objects, then you are going to develop attachments. Same thing can be said that if you are going to contemplate on our daily activities, our job, or anything else, we are going to develop attachment. If we don't do it, then we might not become good in what we are. And when I say good, it means if you have to do something good in some field, then you have to do for that. Now I was thinking maybe a wrong example, but I was thinking in terms of when Arjuna was practicing the bowmanship, he must have prepared really, really well, and he would have practiced hard and would have contemplated to become the best. I'm not telling that we all me personally is on that level, but everybody tries to put effort. So the thing is, if we don't engage ourselves or contemplate in the stuff that we are doing it, then how can we do Purusharth? How can we do the...
Perfect. I got your question. So do you want me to answer now or is there more?
Then after that,
fine.
I ask another question, yes.
Okay, perfect. So when Krishna spoke about the soul, then Krishna says that there are two dharma, right? One is Nitya Dharma and second is Swadharma. Now we have to do our job, and Krishna actually wants us to be the best in our field. Krishna chose Arjun to give the knowledge to because Arjun was the best in his field, isn't it? Now these are two types of contemplation. Yes, this contemplation is not bad contemplation that you need to do something, but what is your end goal, Prabhu? That needs to be fixed. If you are attached to that contemplation, then it is bad for you. For example, giving Arjun example again. Arjun was the best archer. Arjun knew everything and Arjun did not need any help. But when Jayadratha killed Abhimanyu, Arjun took a vow that I am going to kill this person who has killed my son, and if I am not able to kill him tomorrow before the sun sets, I will set myself on fire. Now we all know the story. The second day, Jayadratha was not even brought on the battlefield. So it was like a death trap for Arjun. And Arjun fights whole day trying to find Jayadratha, and Jayadratha was nowhere to be found. And then Krishna covers the cloud, the sun, and then all the bugles and trumpets and everything is blown, saying that the fight would be over for the day. And then the Kauravas, they are jumping and exclaiming that now Arjun is dead. Everyone has gathered, and Arjun is about to shoot an arrow to prepare his deathbed. And at that time, Duryodhan asked someone to call Jayadratha. He was hiding. And then Jayadratha comes, and he stands in front of Arjun. And Duryodhan claps at Jayadratha that because of you, we are going to win this battle. At that time, Krishna then, what he does is, he says to the clouds that you give way to sun. And then they get to know that actually that was not sunset. The sun is still there, but due to clouds, it appeared as if it is sunset. Now, Jayadratha, his target is standing in front of him. He is the best archer in this world, right? He could have taken the arrow and shoot Jayadratha. But at that time, what happened was, Krishna goes to Arjun and he says to Arjun that I want you to pick your bow and arrow, and in this direction, with this intensity and with this speed, and at exactly this point, you have to kill Jayadratha, or you have to shoot this arrow. Arjun, if he was too much attached, he would have thought what I am doing, because I am the best archer. But Arjun did not say anything. Whatever he heard from Krishna, without blink of an eye, he did the exact same thing. And then this Jayadratha, he had a boon from his father, that whoever kills or beheads Jayadratha, that person is going to be dead. So when he killed Jayadratha in that fashion, what happens is that arrow took the head of Jayadratha to a far place inside a cave where his father, who had given him the boon, he was meditating. And as he was meditating, his eyes were closed and he saw that some head has come on his lap. And without opening his eyes, he became so angry that he threw that head on the ground. And the boon was that whoever throws his head on the ground will burn. So with one arrow, both Jayadratha and his father, because of Arjun's arrow, if the head would have touched the ground, then Arjun would have burned, because that was the boon or the curse. So now you understand, Arjun contemplated, but in the end he was not attached to that thing. He did what was told by Krishna. So similarly, if our dharma, swadharma, okay, if it requires us to be best at something, for example, if someone has to become a judge, a lawyer, or a MBBS doctor, so definitely they have to contemplate on their studies. If they don't do, then how will they become doctors or lawyers or whatever profession they choose? But being attached, there the problem starts. Okay. If they are not attached to that, then it is fine. But being attached means getting angry or all these things. So this succession goes on. So this will be cleared further in the next coming chapters. As I said, this is just a synopsis, this second chapter. But then Arjuna will ask that please expand further. And then Krishna is going to explain all these things in detail. So does that help, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, the example was good, and I was trying to understand more, like when you said that we don't have to be attached, as you said, it will be explained in later chapters. So
yeah, so I will just give you a clue. Understand that there are two things, attachment and affection. We have to be affectionate and never be attached to something. Be it job, be it relationship, be it anything. Be affectionate because everyone is part and parcel of Krishna. So we have to take care of them. Our parents, our siblings, our spouse, our friends, our community. Thinking that they're part and parcel. So we have to give them that love and we have to be with them in that way. But if we get attached, then we are gone. Because the whole the driving factor of this material world is this attachment, desires and attachment, because desires ultimately lead to attachment. Okay, we will discuss this, Prabhu, in later chapters. Yes, next question. Yeah.
Should I continue now?
Yes, Prabhu, please.
Yeah. So the second question was when you were giving that example of rabdi and malai or someone, you were saying that if we have the desire to eat it, we have to offer it to Krishna. Now I want to understand it. One way of doing it, okay, I have this desire of eating something which is tasty. But now I have understood from you or from the Bhagavad-gītā, probably the crux of this, okay, probably eating these things are not good, but if we just offer it to Krishna, then probably it is good to eat. Then the question comes then what do we mean by offer to Krishna? Simply saying that this food is to you, or we meditate on you by offering you this food?
There is a process. There is a process to do that. The first thing is that food should not have onion and garlic in it. Okay? You cook the food, so that is called bhog. Now, if you have deities at your home, or if you have photo frame of Lord Krishna, you keep in front of him along, so there should be a different plate. You should not use that plate for you. It is specifically only for offering bhoga to Lord. And then you should have tulsi leaves. So you keep the tulsi leaf on every item that you have prepared, puri, sabzi, kheer, water, and whatever, pickle, papad. And then there are mantras that you do in front of God. And after you have said those mantras, then you close the doors, because now he is taking that food for 10-15 minutes. So 12 minutes you keep it for God, and the remaining 3 minutes is for the demigods and our ancestors, 15 minutes. And after 15 minutes, you come back, open the door, and then say Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and take that food. Now we had offered bhog, and that has transformed into prasadam. So what has happened is that, and why do we do this, Prabhu? Because if animals have life, even plants have life, right? So we are killing plants as well. But because Krishna has said, Bhagavad-gītā, patram pushpam phalam toyam, that it can be taken. The plants can be taken. That is the reason that it was made. Like I told you the example of an army man killing a terrorist. So the act is of killing, but he is not getting punished, rather he is getting reward. So similarly here what is happening is there is killing of plants. But because Krishna has said, okay fine, you can offer it to me. Once we offer, what happens is whatever sins that were incurred while killing the plant, Krishna takes that sin, and then in return he instills his love in that food. So that is how the bhog is transformed into prasadam. And then we take it, we transfer it to our plate, and now we can have it. So this is the process of offering bhoga. Okay?
Understand, Prabhu. Just only this one question on top of that is, so basically all you are saying is that we have to only take prasadam, nothing else.
Nothing
now,
else.
I'm asking a practical question. So for example, people like me, they cannot do this activity program. First of all, I have never done this. That's another bad thing. But the thing is, even if I want to do it, it's not possible to do it every time. Let's say for starters, maybe later it may happen. But for now, it is very difficult to do that. Is there any?
So I will just ask you to just mute for one time, and then we have Amit Prabhu on the call, we have Girdhar Prabhu on the call, we have Chaitanya Prabhu on the call, and we have, I don't know about Gurmukh Prabhu because I met him, he was a devotee. I can tell you, Amit Prabhu he met me before he became a devotee, probably Chaitanya Prabhu as well. So you, both of you can unmute and you just tell that did you think that it was impossible and now is it possible for both of you?
No, it's easily possible. It's not that difficult.
And did you think when you started 1 year back with me, did you think was it possible that time? Did you think it was hard?
I mean, initially I did miss a few times, like first couple of weeks, but later on I got used to it. And it just happens automatically. You just get used to it as a daily habit.
See, I'll tell you my story. And it was really, really hard for me because it's super hard because I just live on my own and then I have to cook every time. And then like when I started, I was also eating sometimes outside. And so yeah, it was really, really hard. And then like I realized that like I want to do this. And then I just prayed to Krishna that may I be able to offer bhog to you. And then I might only eat prasad. And like slowly with prayers, only with the power of prayers, that like Krishna reciprocates. Like, so if you like sincerely pray that you want to offer prasad and only eat prasad, offer bhog and only eat prasad, then Krishna will reciprocate. Like, but initially it is super hard. Like I know it from my own, like it is super hard to do it, like to begin with it, because you never have the sanskar of doing it. So,
Right.
yeah.
So I will just add on to it, Abhishek Prabhu, that today we are thinking from our capacity. Okay, I will let Gurmukh Prabhu after me to speak. So today we are thinking from our capacity, but then we forget that there is a mercy that is added. So yes, Gurmukh Prabhu, you speak and then I will continue.
Hare Krishna, Guruji, there's no doubt about it, Guruji. There is nothing impossible, but yes, you have to pray the things which you think you can't do it. Then it would be easy.
Right. So there are many things, Prabhuji, which seems impossible. But I'll tell you, waking up in the morning was impossible for me. And even today it's impossible. It is just the mercy that it's possible. And now you have a devotee base. Now we are sitting on a call and there are 15 devotees. You go to the temple and there are devotees. When I came 7 years back to Dublin, I didn't find this. So it was even more challenging. Because now I can go to Gurmukh Prabhu's house and we can eat prasad, or someone else's house and they can come to my house and we can eat. But back then they didn't know me, I didn't know them, and there was no place I could go. Right? So it was difficult. But then what happens is, when in such situation, you take a stand that I am still going to do this because this is what Krishna has said. So do you think that Krishna, being the father of everything, won't help you? He will open all the doors. You just have to desire, I'm going to do this. And you will see and you will give your testimony 6 months from now that how Krishna helped you in every way. Because we take flights, even then we manage, and being initiated, there is no chance for me. It's like if I don't get food for 2 days, I have to remain like that. But then Krishna arranges for everyone, every devotee. So that is how he takes it. So then practically we know that he is taking care of us. And that also gives more faith and belief in Krishna. So that is why he says, Ye yatham maam prapadyante tam tathaiva bhajamyam. As you take the step, I reward. So as you move ahead, I will reward you accordingly. So you have to take the first step, Prabhu, that I am going to do this. Then he will reward you accordingly. Okay?
And yes, Prabhu, if I may add, like, so if you, like, for me, what helped me is, like, if you pray to Tulsi Maharani, she will help you, like, in all sorts of ways, like, especially for, like, food, like, she will help you, like, so much, like, I have, like, so many experience, like, for, like, the arrangements that happened with me, like, so, yeah, for, like, especially for prasadam, yeah, if you have to pray, like, just pray to Tulsi Maharani, like, every morning, like, if you do Tulsi Aarti, or if you like attend Mangal Aarti in the morning program. So it's like ideal. Like if you pray to her sincerely, like she will definitely listen to your prayers.
It's a lot taken to.
Yes. So,
also, if someone doesn't have Tulsi leaves at home, they can just say the Tulsi mantra also before saying the Bhoga mantra. Because that is what we do here in Berlin also. The temple president has advised us that you should say the 8 names of Tulsi Devi if you don't have Tulsi leaves at home. And then you said the Srila Prabhupada prayer, Lord Chaitanya prayer and Krishna prayer after that.
Yeah.
Offering.
I will share the prayers in the group, and then also if you are traveling, so you can mentally offer Tulsi leaf. For instance, you are traveling and you don't have Tulsi leaves with you and you buy let's say snacks from outside without onion and garlic. So then you can mentally offer it to Shri Krishna, saying that I offer it with Tulsi to you, and then you can have it. So this is how we survive.
Probably in flights also nowadays you get Jain food. So that is not
definitely. Yeah, right. So it's easier. That's what I'm saying. Krishna will open all the door. You just take the first step and you enjoy. Okay, fine. So moving ahead to Prabhuji, do you have more question or?
No, Prabhu, I think that's enough.
Okay, perfect.
Go and hit that works.
Yeah, okay. Yes, Vedas Prabhu, I think you raised your hand. Do you have a question or is it answered already?
Prabhu, you answered it already. So.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Do we have another question or any other question? Okay, fine. So if not, then we will meet tomorrow for our Bhagavatam class. Thank you for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.